What's going on, team? Matt here from the PT Profit Leverage and Lifestyle Show. I've got a good friend of mine, good old Harry, on the show today. So thanks for joining us, my friend. How's your morning been?
Good mate. Just been on the laptop for a couple of hours. I just got out of the ice bath earlier actually, so I'm feeling fresh, ready to go.
Very good. I do want to actually pick your brain about your routine because I'm
Yep. Right.
seeing a lot of it on the socials. Looks like it's obviously doing wonders for you, and I think you got a few other people doing similar things.
Yep.
But yeah, thanks for joining us today, my friend. So I won't say too much. I'll get you to introduce yourself in a second. But do you want to give people a bit of an insight into what you do? So you're obviously a personal trainer.
Yep.
Do you want to give us a bit of a summary of how long you've been in the industry for, where you're located, and I suppose a little bit of a backstory about yourself?
For sure, yeah. Yeah, so obviously your PT, I work out of Jets in Mauritius on the sunny coast. And just slowly starting to transition online, sorry. Went
Oh,
away to Europe and took a massive hit to my clients, and how many I had, which was a learning lesson in itself, but also I'm using it as like a slingshot to transition into the online space, which is something I've wanted. It's always been on my mind, from a young age, being able to work for myself and also have freedom. Um, but yeah, being an online coach, it's awesome, and I guess it stemmed from me training from a young age. I've always been around training, being playing Aussie rules growing up most of my life, playing at a high level. With that being the dream for a long time, it disintegrated when some other things came up in my life, and had to find a passion for something else. And this is what's come about.
yeah, awesome. Well, I want to dive into those challenges that you faced in Europe because like we've obviously worked together a little bit on
Yep.
your face-to-face business.
Yep.
It's awesome that you're looking to transition to, or you sounds like you have pretty much transitioned to online. What were the challenges that you experienced in Europe? Like what happened there?
Initially, it was before I left. I had two clients who, one was moving away, and another one was just working with me to get his. I said as soon as I told him I was going to Europe, he was like, "Oh yeah, that should be the perfect amount of time for me to train with you," and that was like 3 months. So I probably said it too early. I also probably didn't even really need to say anything, but I did have to give people notice. I didn't want to stitch people up. Um, so yeah, initially two people before I left, I knew were done. And then yeah, transitioned everyone to online. I had three or four clients who I was doing catch up sessions with before and after. And those clients are awesome. Like I love them. They always put in the work and they're going to do what they can to make it work. And then you got those others who are like sort of, you got to push them a little bit more. You got to be a little bit more relentless in your accountability and keeping them on track. But so those types of people who didn't want to do catch ups, I put onto the online an online rate.
Yeah,
Because obviously I just did them with my I did my normal online sort of structure and how I go about my online clients. I only had five at the time, and then obviously a few of my face to face. It was about 15 of them went to online, and then another five or six went to we're just doing catch ups. As I said, and then yeah, so while I was away, obviously doing all the check-ins, they had to be accountable on their own. And I guarantee I was giving them the full service that they're paying for. But I think the thing was that most of those, I lost a total of 10 clients in the space of 2 months. And this was literally just gone in July. So yeah, slowly building back up online now. But yeah, all those people who cancelled were not doing anything while I was away. I was messaging them weekly. Obviously, I was in Europe. I had limited internet, um,
mm,
limited access. I was busy. I was trying to be on holiday and trying to balance the lifestyle of working for myself and serving people that are paying me and also enjoying my holiday. So, yeah, I'm so certain that I gave them the service they deserved, but it was mainly the thing of accountability. So I look back on it and see, okay, what can I do to, um, maybe help them stay accountable. And I think you got to know what they're like and be like, okay, yeah, you might not want to do some catch ups, but this is what's going to be best for you. And it's going to just help them stay accountable. I don't know what it might be, but yeah, that was the biggest issue for me. People just weren't accountable and then they ended up sort of falling away. And like, oh yeah, I'm just going to cancel then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. Like, because I'm actually in the very similar process to you. Like, I've been doing face to face for a while now. I'm in the process of pretty much just giving people no other option but to do online. Um, for different reasons. But like, what are some of the reasons why are you attracted to more online PT rather than face to face? I'm curious from your perspective.
From a young age, and this is not me tooting my own horn, I'm around success in my family. My uncle owns a really successful building company. My other uncle owns a construction company. They're actually two different things if you didn't know. And then my dad owns a successful financial planning business. And then he's just recently opened a Jets as well. So the owning a business thing's always been a part of my life and always been there for me. Like I know that footy was always there. Footy was a massive thing for me, which is where all this mental health stuff stems into, which I'm sure we'll touch on. But for me, I've always wanted to work for myself. I've never, ever, ever wanted to be like in the rat race of working for someone else and have to listen to what someone else is saying. Even working at Jets can be a bit tough sometimes, doing the group classes and stuff like that. But no, it's just the freedom that you get, especially going online, is massive. It's so good. Even obviously, I'm working a lot, but I'm working from wherever I want and whenever I want, whenever I feel ready. Um, so yeah, it's massively what's the right word to use? I feel like I can just reach more people as well, and create a bigger community in terms of that sort of thing. But yeah, I think the biggest attraction to me is just that freedom, in terms of work.
Yeah, awesome. Love it. I want to get a little bit deep here because I mean, I think we've had conversations around this before, but in terms of you're around very successful people in your environment, right? So do you do you feel more pressure to
Yeah,
get to the same?
I put it on myself though, um, because they're all at a pretty high level, like making a lot of money. So it's like I'm like, fuck, because my dad completely flipped the switch in his family. So his dad, his mum and dad, they did not have a very nice upbringing. They were like out in the country, didn't have much money. So dad's completely flipped the switch. And then yeah, all my just yeah, been around it. I obviously put that pressure on myself. No one's putting that pressure on me. But yeah, I think being around it plays a big part with the type of person that I am as well.
Mm. Yeah, it's obviously lifts you up as well, lifts your standards,
Sure.
I think, as well. So, speaking of standards, I want to go into your routine. I think it's more so the morning routine, from my understanding, from
Yep.
what I've seen anyway. So, do you want to run us through what that routine is, why you do it, and I suppose the benefits of doing it?
So the one I'm doing, I love to chop and change with what I'm doing, but I was recently on a group call I went on as a guest to speak to a men's community group, and the owner of it wanted, or I guess owner, yeah, owner we'll call it, Jamie. He wanted me to come up with like a some sort of morning routine for those boys to do for the next 2 weeks. So the past week and a half, we've been this is what I've been doing at the moment, and I've called it the priming routine, because it's priming you for the day. It's almost I like to use it as my coffee. Like if I do this thing, sometimes I honestly I could be without a coffee, and obviously it's a bad habit. I don't really need to rely on coffee. I can easily function without it. But when I do this morning routine, I feel unreal. So it's 10-minute meditation with a certain frequency of binaural beats, and it's like you can choose. I chop and change. Sometimes I'll do like a positive energy. Sometimes I'll do like a healing, or you can search it up. And then I do the Wim Hof breath method. I do that for about 10 minutes, about 3 or 4 rounds of that, which is really, really good to wake you up before you actually go in the ice bath. I've found that going in the ice bath before doing that was left me in this state of fright, fight or flight. Um, if I wasn't ready, if I wasn't prepared to jump in that ice bath, because if you go from being dead asleep to into that freezing cold water, it can sometimes do more harm than good. So hence the reason I do that meditation, and then I do the Wim Hof, and then I go do 3 minutes in the ice bath, and then I'm good to go.
For those who don't know, can you explain what that breathing technique is? Like,
Wim Hof.
yeah,
Yeah, so it's like a really high intensity breathing. So for 30 seconds you're doing like literally breaths like really quick, hard breaths, and it basically rises your core body temperature, gets your heart rate up a little bit. And the simplest way to explain it is it just wakes you up. If you're doing it in the morning, obviously you can do it at any time, but it can just make you more alert, and raise that brain clarity. So yeah, and then you do about 30 seconds or 30 breaths of that. I use the guided thing, in my ear. I don't just do it. I just find it easier to just listen. And then after that 30 seconds, you hold your breath for a minute. And then you go again, 3 or 4 rounds.
yeah, right. Okay, so that'll probably take what, like half an hour total?
No, no, take 10 minutes under. If you're doing 30 second, you're doing 3 or 4 rounds, 30 seconds, then hold for a minute. It's a minute and a half each, not even 10 minutes.
Yeah, but like in total for the whole.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yes, correct. Yeah. Yeah, I got about 25. If I'm like pew, 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 like zing into each one. Sometimes I'll do it all over the next thing.
Yeah, so you're doing that every day?
For the past 2 weeks I have, yes. I'm always shopping and changing. Sometimes I'll just do meditation, sometimes I'll just do an ice bath. But the past 2 weeks I've been doing that. And it's really, honestly, it's been paying off just in terms of energy throughout the whole day. It's been amazing. Like, and especially with the amount of work I'm doing at the moment, I'm really hustling. Like, I'm in this era of working really hard and setting myself up for a lot of that unpaid stuff. So it's really important for me to be energized, because it's one thing I struggled with face to face was by the end of the day I was gassed.
Yeah, and obviously I'm assuming um with the online side of things, because you're not having to be with clients
Mm.
as often, or I suppose as because you don't have to do like a 30-minute or 45-minute session with them every single week. It's like, you might have to spend 5-10 minutes here, 5-10 minutes there, helping
Yeah,
them. I'm assuming that means it gives you more energy to
plays
grow,
a massive part.
grow, whether it's more clients or grow your social media or whatever.
Oh yes, yeah, definitely.
Awesome, love it. That's an epic routine. Like I've done similar things, with variety of different things in terms of meditation or ice baths or just breathing techniques, but I've never really been able to stick to one thing for a while. I kind of just swap and change. Like very
Yeah.
similar.
I think it's all about, well, the way I explain it, and that's the same as me. I'm chopping and changing. I'm doing what I feels right for the day, just because of where I'm at. Some people, they need the structure. It needs to be the same every day. It's just knowing the individual and what's going to work best for them in terms of that. Because some people can't even do the ice baths. People who have like really bad anxiety and stuff like that, it can leave them in a state of fight or flight for the whole day, and can, as I said, do more harm than good. Good if you don't know how to harness and suppress your anxiety. Um, because yeah, people can let other things like an ice bath cause more anxiety. So
Yeah,
um, that's the sort of work I'm trying to tap into as well, and upskilling and teaching um myself and other people as I go.
yeah, love it. We were talking uh, before we started recording about you obviously being a bit more vulnerable on your socials. Um, like recently, I think it was more around the mental health side of things.
Yeah.
Obviously share whatever you're comfortable sharing, but I'd love to go through, um, you know, I suppose what it was like back then and how you actually got yourself out of that state.
Mm.
And you
Oh,
can fill us in
yeah.
with whatever you want to fill us in with, but yeah, take us back to those times.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be really hard for me to share this stuff, but ever since getting it out with my work, it's made a massive difference in my confidence to be able to share this stuff. So it all started when I was, and it's funny now, I'm the complete opposite in terms of talking about stuff. I used to be that person who would hide in my shell, not say a word to anyone. If someone said something that hurt me, I'd just like laugh it off, something like that, or I was upset, I wouldn't say a word. I'd just let it eat me alive for as long as I could remember, which was a solid probably. It probably went on for about a year and a half, pretty much, until it all got too much. But I didn't realize it was too much until that initial 2018 period that I talk about. Um, so the biggest driver was footy. Footy was my tunnel vision goal. I had people telling me I was going to get drafted. I was in the Lions Academy. I was playing for Queensland, like from the youngest age to as soon as I stopped. Even though I wasn't loving it, I was still making these rep teams, which was really hard to wrap my head around. And because it was all I knew, I literally like didn't even think what would happen if I didn't play. Um, so yeah, basically 2018, stopped playing. I was playing under 18s. It was my first year of pretty much senior footy, under 18s footy, playing for Maroochydore. And it just I don't know, I had stuff going on outside of footy as well, obviously, but I had family stuff going on. I just had and really bad anxiety, um, girl stuff like school bullying, like all this sort of stuff. There was so much adding up. But I look back on it, and the biggest thing for me was footy. Footy was the biggest driver because it was my purpose. It was what I knew myself as. I didn't know myself as any other person other than a footy player. Um, So, and then obviously add all that other stuff on top, which sort of gave me this depressed state that I got into. So from there, basically, yeah, stopped playing footy. This was 2018. So I was in grade 10. Um, and as soon as I stopped playing footy, it all went downhill from there. Started like coping the bullying at school because I literally started putting on weight. I gained about 10 kilos from when I stopped playing footy to when I went to school. That was obviously over a period. It wasn't straight away, but yeah, all these things happened, especially the bullying that got to me. So I ended up stopping going to school for the whole last term of my grade 10 year. Still got my grade 10 certificate or whatever you call it. But ended up moving schools. Moved schools and from there started playing school footy and wasn't playing club footy, just school footy. So it was, again, that was the thing was messing with my head. That was messing with my head still there because I was playing something I didn't love. The reason I went to that school was because they had a school AFL excellence program, and I just wanted to do footy for a subject. But yeah, basically, so I went to that school. Life got a little bit better. I was mentally a little bit better. Actually, sorry, I've just missed the whole part, the actual bad part. So before I moved schools, 2018, when all that time I had off school, in that period is when I went to a mental health ward. So basically that was when I mentioned to my parents that I was gonna end my life, sent them a message. We were camping at Cotton Tree Beach on the Sunshine Coast, and I think I was hanging out with some mates, and I just yeah, I can't remember exactly what happened, but I remember the moment when I just walked off and just started walking. And I walked all the way to the top of like Alex Hill, and as I was walking, I sent my parents a message, and just basically I was saying I was gonna end my life. And then yeah, from there I just dropped my phone, put my phone down, put it left in my pocket, turned it off, and yeah, just got pretty deep. I don't want to go too deep or anything like that, but yeah, just sitting on the edge of a cliff, just thinking about my life, really wanting to end it, really wanting to end it. And literally, I kid you not, like 5 minutes after I sat down, the police came up and dragged me off. from behind whilst my auntie was talking to me. So my auntie got there first, and she was talking to me. My auntie's been probably the biggest part in my journey. She's a kinesiologist, and she's been through her own stuff, so she's very, very good with that stuff. But yeah, so basically the police pulled me off, and they wanted to take me to the mental health ward. My parents said no. I said I didn't want to. And then yeah, basically, long story short, went back camping. And no one really saw it as a massive thing because I was like sort of again brushing it off, didn't want to talk about it. And then a week later or so, when we got home from camping, I said to my mum, I want to go to the mental health ward, and I did. You have to get referred to go there, so you have to go to a psychologist to go there. So we went to the psychologist. They like clear you to be able to be mentally messed up enough to be able to go there. I volunteered to go there, obviously, which is I think the turning point for me. Um, like because I realized, and that was one of the turning points. The other turning point was when I actually got there, and I realized like, okay, my life is not that bad compared to some of these people. Like being in there was the most traumatic experience of my life. Seeing, hearing things that no 16, 17-year-old should see. It was horrible, and I'll never forget it. But it's helped me. Obviously, I wouldn't change it because I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. So, um, yeah, the biggest that was the turning point. 100% seeing my problems and the choice I had. I made the choice there because I saw that that was not where I wanted to get to. I was well on my way there because I was pretty mentally messed up. Still had work to do, but I made the choice. Right, this is done. I'm not keeping this to myself anymore. This felt so much better by talking to people and talking to my parents and acknowledging that I need help. But yeah, still ended up having to stay there for 2 weeks. Went home, and then yeah, basically all the journey of getting better and working on myself and fixing myself, psychologist appointments, never went on any medication. My mum refused to let me go on that. And I'll forever thank her for that because I had to learn to do it on my own pretty much with naturally, I guess you can call it, without the medication. I had to learn to do it myself. So yeah, basically that's where it all comes from. That skipping the medication and accepting that I got shit to work on. And I worked at it for years and years. And I guess even now I've still got stuff I'm working on, but I know how to work around things that pop up. So yeah, I guess I can never, it's hard for me to talk about that stuff because I always think I'm missing something. But yeah, that's it, I reckon.
Yeah, wow. Crazy story and very, very intense. And I suppose those type of moments, change the trajectory of your life.
Mm.
For good or for worse, could go either way, of course. But
Yep.
obviously, based on what I've seen, and obviously we've worked together before, so I know the type of person you are now. So,
Yep.
yeah, you've definitely come a long way from that point. So, firstly, well done
Thank you, mate. Appreciate that.
for putting in the work. But I suppose I'm curious how you then got into PT. So obviously you would have done a bit of probably self-development on yourself, which is great.
Yep.
Um, but when did you decide to go into PT?
Um, so I started in 2022, so it's 2 years pretty much. In all like yeah, 2 years, just been over 2 years since I've been doing it. But again, the thing of wanting to work for someone else. So I was an apprentice, I was a laborer. So while I was trying to work through all this shit that I was going through, I was just I had no purpose. I was really just trying to work on myself and get myself mentally right. Um, so I was working for my uncle for his construction company, building company, whatever you want, DevCon. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that. He owns that. So it's yeah, laboring there, and then ended up. Thought I was going to be a chippy, so I did an apprenticeship. Because I wanted to own my own building company. So I was just trying to follow the crowd with my uncle and stuff. So um, personal training had always been on my mind, but I was like, oh, the money's not that good, and I'm very glad that I changed the way I thought about it. Because I'm probably making more money than all my mates who are still tradies, which is obviously going to be fair enough. Most of them are apprentices, but still, the sky's the limit for them. But it's also even bigger for me as a personal trainer. So, yeah, just the passion for training, and then the want to help. Ever since those issues, I've been that person for my friends who they come to in a friendly way, and I've always given it to people straight. I tell people things they don't want to hear, but they need to hear. Um, and that's who I've been for my friends, and I still am. I'm still that person, and now it's what I do for work. So, um, yeah, I'm doing something right because I'm helping myself at the same time.
Yeah, love it. And just and that's quite the journey, and especially if you've only been in the industry for 2 years. Like obviously you're quite aware now of the potential in
Mm.
this industry. So yeah, I personally think it's one of the best industries to work in, not only to obviously run your own business, but obviously for the time freedom, the flexibility,
Yeah.
the income, of course. But I'm curious from your perspective now, because you're obviously surrounded by quite successful people with pretty big businesses. Where where does that leave you in terms of in the fitness industry? Obviously, I know you want to help a lot of people, especially with the online side of things. So what's like the long-term vision for you, or where do you want to take your business?
I think for me right now, I want to build up a personal brand. And I think also on the sunny coast, there's a lack of this mental health sort of community sort of thing where people are like, you see people going to do breath work sessions, you see them going to do ice baths, on the beach and stuff like that. But yeah, I'd love to go down the track of like public speaking, all that sort of stuff, but also have this business working as well. So almost like that public figure sort of thing. And just at least on the sunny coast, get well known for my journey, and then for also how I can implement my journey to help other people. So, yeah, just working towards building up this online PT coaching, and implement the stuff that my point of difference that they talk about to help you grow online. Um, and yeah, utilizing that, and then also building off it as well on my social media.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I speak about this quite a bit for online PTs. Is you can't just try to help everyone. You've got to be very specific with who you want to help, because that's how you're going
Very
to.
different to in person. I think even in person, you can almost get away with helping whoever. It depends on the gym you're working at. Especially well, let's talk in particular with jets. Sometimes you got to take what you can get,
Mm,
unless you're fully booked. But if you're a new PT or even yeah still building, you sort of got to take what you can get. Because the demographic with jets is very broad. Um, it's got old people, it's got young people, it's got people who have money, it's got people who don't have money. It's got people who are bodybuilders, it's got people who are doing hit sessions. Like it's a very broad range of gym goers. So, but again, you can still definitely have your niche as a face-to-face PT.
yeah. I think it's also like who you actually want to work with as well. Like you mentioned before with footy, you weren't even enjoying playing footy, but you were just doing it for whatever reason. Um, so the worst thing you can do is helping people that don't inspire you.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing that and you know what? That's what I linked to the stuff with the clients that all left when I went to Europe. They were all clients who just weren't inclined in the journey. Like they didn't want, I was the driver. I was pushing, I was messaging them. I was like, why are you not doing your sessions? They weren't doing anything. They weren't doing anything to help themselves. They just thought, oh yeah, I'll pay this guy. He's done stuff with other people, so he'll be able to fix me without me doing anything. So those people are just a bit delusional.
Yeah. You bring up a good point there about the drivers, because if you're relying on someone else to drive you to make change, I mean you obviously be forever relying on that person. Um, but also when it does get hard or that person isn't available, 'cause you're not going to be available 24/7,
That's
then
it.
you go into old habits.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to tie in a little bit, the deeper stuff, rather than just help them lose weight. It's like, all right, let's learn how you can completely change the way you look at your health and how you can change it and then even impact other people in your life.
Yeah, love it. So just a little bit in terms of the transition from face to face to online. So I'm actually not sure, but are you actually still at Jets? Are you
Yeah.
still okay? Cool, sweet. So because there's obviously a number of ways to obviously transition to online and obviously to build online. So well, I suppose for the because there'll be a lot of people listening that are face to face at the moment, and they do want to take the leap to online, and it is like confronting and scary to do that type of stuff. So, what's some of the things that you had to overcome when you were making the decision to? It sounds like you've pretty much gone almost all in online. So, what were some of the things that happened, or what did you need to overcome to make that decision?
I think the first thing was it was half forced on me, but also not. I had the choice to when I come back from Europe after losing all those clients to whether to build back up face to face, which I could have done very easily. Like I got 4 or 5 face to face clients as soon as I got back. Um, but to grow online, it was simply building my own personal brand because of the way I want to go about it. And just starting. The biggest thing was starting and posting. Like I've gotten a few clients off my Instagram already, which I didn't expect. Um, but yeah, as much it was sort of as much as it was sort of forced on me, you have to be willing to. It's just like it's starting a business again almost. You got to take the risk to get the reward that you want. Because you're not going to get there if you don't try. Like that's a given, and everyone knows that saying. Like it's not going to happen unless you actually have a go. So for me, I was like, what's the worst that could happen? I can just go back to face if it doesn't work. But then again, I was also like, okay, this is what I want, so I'm gonna go all in. And I've literally been working my ring off for the past month, and it's paid off. So now I'm sort of half half. Um,
Nice little hybrid model.
Yeah, so sort of mostly, majority of my work is online. Like I'm only my PT sessions, I'm just going in, getting out, and then yeah, so yeah, it's still building, still very up and down. Few people canceling, still signing new people up. But yeah, it's just I'm learning the ropes to online. I want to get into email marketing. That's probably my next step, and then yeah, the rest is just the way I'm trying to do it is through social media. So I want to be able to post content and get those low ticket offers through social media, but then also have that really high end um high ticket offer where it's one to one. But obviously right now just keeping it really simple. Um, Sticking with what I am capable of, but learning what I can do and slowly incorporating the things that I need to.
Awesome. Love it, mate. Great advice. Just get it done. Learn as
Yeah,
you
that's all I know really, mate. Like when people ask me that, I'm just like, sorry, who I am. If I need to do something, I'll go get it done. It's just who I've always been. And I remember working with you. If you told me to do something, I'll just go get it done. Just get it done when it needs, like get it done as soon as possible. Because when you put your trust in something and you go get it done, there's no reason why it's not going to work.
go. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even if it doesn't, you've got the data and then you're learning.
For
Um,
sure. That's it. And they talk about all these successful entrepreneurs talking about how many times they failed. Like if you look at any of them, I'm sure that they've all been doing and chipping away for years and years and years. And I would be happy to get half as where most of them, not even half, a quarter of where they are within the next 5 years. You know what I mean? Like I'm here for the ride. And I think you just got to be, and it's the same with the fitness journey that people can tell their clients. And what I drive into my clients is you got to ride the waves. If you just ride in the highs and you get to the lows and you let that sort of ruin your motivation or anything like that, or you're waiting for things to happen, good luck.
yeah, 100%. I always say this as well, and I think Alex Hormozy says this. Oh, no, it's not Alex Hormozy. It's Simon Sinek about playing an infinite game, and the whole purpose of business is to just keep playing the game. So as long as you're still playing, you're still
It,
you're still winning. As long as you're
that's
still
it.
alive.
It's as simple as riding the waves. Yeah, you just got to ride the. Someone said it. I literally, it might have been Alex Hormozy. He said that you've got to. There's something about you've got to ride the highs and the lows. If you can learn to love that, you learn to love the journey, you'll get there. Like you don't have to love the lows, but you got to love the journey. You got to love that. You got to be like, okay, this is cool. When this shit stuff happens, that means that I'm about to grow again. Or, you can look at it how you want to. But yeah, that's the way I've been looking at it.
Love it. Sounds good, mate. I'm sure there'll be a few people that want to follow along with your journey, or they might even be able to work with you. Who knows? But where would people find you on the socials? What's your handle?
Instagram, I'm just Harry Drew Coaching, and Facebook, I use my normal profile, so just Harry Drew, my public profile. I've also got a business account, but I sort of just share everything on there. And but yeah, Instagram's my main sort of thing, and Facebook, I'm on there just posting the same stuff, but not really engaging as much. So yeah, Instagram and Facebook, Harry Drew Coaching.
Love it. Thanks for your time, my friend.
Thank you, mate. Thanks for having me.
All right.